All right, brothers, let's talk about something that every man must know, right? Like when we're in situations where we're entertaining women the long way, we look at several factors, but one of those factors, which is one of the most important factors, is will this woman be faithful? Will this woman be faithful, man? And I'm gonna tell you this, a woman that's going to cheat, it's predictable, bro. It is so predictable. I made this video series, I don't know, a year ago or so. I'll leave a link. It's called A Code to Her Chemistry, man. And what I did was took just information from trial and error, information that was passed down from my uncles, and made a video talking about the chemistry of a woman. And if certain boxes aren't checked, 100%, it's 100% guaranteed that woman will step out. There's a code to her chemistry, right? And I want to talk about a little bit of that today, right? So the thing is, you got to understand this, man. You have to understand that every single woman has the ability to be faithful and has the ability to cheat. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's hard to grasp, because you can go to church and see the women dressed in all white and the white gloves, and they passing out the grape juice, and you think these women are the cream of the crop. That woman will step out. At the same time, man, you can go to the club and you can see the woman that's booty cheeks out and acting a certain way. That woman has the ability to be faithful. You know what I'm saying? Because once you understand what's really taking place, man, again, there's a code to her chemistry. But her cheating, it's so predictable, bro. It's so predictable. And that's why I want to have this video today, man. So the first thing is, the signs you know she'll cheat, man, is, and this is the basic, well, not really basic, but I talk about it quite often. I'm always talking about the first marriage of man, the second marriage of man, the third marriage of man. Just real quick, you got to understand, when I'm talking about the first marriage of man, for those that are new to this channel, the first marriage of man or mankind is when a person first marries themselves. In other words, their higher self and their lower self come together and become one. Their Christ consciousness kicks in. They connect with God. They have knowledge of self, right? Second marriage of man is when a man meets a woman, right? And now they're both whole beings, and they both connect to become one unity, right? So, in the book A Singular Truth, man, I said if two people conduct the second marriage of man before they conduct the first, it's going to be chaos every single time, right? So having said that, if you connect with the woman that hasn't found self, odds are before that relationship is over, it's going to end up in turmoil. It's going to end up with her stepping out. It's going to end up with her with a void being filled by somebody else. Because you got to understand this, right? I'll speak on this for a second. When a person hasn't, quote unquote, married themselves and they come into a relationship, you got to understand that relationship is going to be off balance ASAP. So when we're talking about a man getting with a woman and it's like, man, this woman is cute. She's this, she's all these good things. But every single time I'm with her, my energy is drained. It's because she hasn't found self. And since every single person on the planet is subconsciously seeking God, whether it's through drugs, whether it's through alcohol, whether it's through consumerism, once she gets with you and you have that God energy, because you found self, when two come together, God should be there also. She's gonna be drinking your God juice instead of y'all two bringing that God essence to a relationship. So if you get in a relationship and that woman hasn't found self, a lot of times these women will still be dealing with trauma. A lot of times these women will still be coping with pain on some level, right? So on one end, you have a woman that's going to be let me just pause there for a second. On one end, you have a woman that's going to be sucking the God juice out of you until either you're depleted or you just close that valve, right? And either way, whether you're depleted of your energy and you're just a worthless man, or you've closed that valve where you're saying, hey, you know what, something's wrong, I'm draining my energy. Either way, man, at that point in time, she's going to seek that God essence somewhere else. At that point in time, she's going to have to seek that God essence somewhere else. You can't give a woman that type of energy and cut it off. So 9.9 times out of 10, man, when you find a woman she hasn't found self, once you realize she hasn't found self, and you kind of put a freeze on your energy, oh, she has to seek that energy somewhere else, right? She's gonna have to seek it somewhere else, right? The other part I was talking about was if she hasn't found self, a lot of times she's still dealing with pain. And you gotta understand one thing about this, like when a woman is still dealing with trauma, whether it's the way she saw her parents conduct themselves when she grew up. Like maybe they were just cheating, or maybe they were just in utter chaos. As far as one side of her Christ mind, her God consciousness will crave a good man, will crave a man that knows himself, will crave a man that has purpose. But her lower self, her ego man will crave that trauma. So you're gonna have a woman that's back and forth, man. And what will happen is once that relationship has that glow, it won't be a part of her truth. You know what I'm saying? She won't be able to identify. So in other words, when you see these women getting on the gram and TikTok saying, hey, you know what? I had this man, he pretty much hung the moon. He hung the moon. He did every single thing right. But I for some reason, I couldn't be in that situation. It's a woman that's dealing with something. And I'm not saying that what she's dealing with is extreme, like she been, finessed and all this kind of stuff. But there's some truth in her that doesn't align with being whole. So 100% of the time, man, once that energy is gone, or once that truth is shifted, she will have to top that energy off. And 10 times out of 10, man, that woman will have to step out, man, to fill that void. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, like a woman can, kind of going back to what I was saying a second ago, every woman has that thing in her. So before I finish this first point, like a lot of times, man, we'll try to judge a book by its cover. This woman might be in church and singing psalms. She might be the librarian and dresses a certain way. She might be modest. She might be on social media talking about God is good. A lot of these women are the biggest hoes you'll know, bro. A lot of them are the biggest hoes. And I'm not telling y'all nothing y'all don't know, man. It's a different world. Like it used to be a point in time where the hoes and the housewives looked completely different. Now they wear the exact same uniform, man. So you really have to, when you meet a woman, you really have to start questioning things to see where she is internally. Does she have knowledge of self? And if she doesn't, which most women don't, the far majority of women don't. Not saying they're bad women, but they don't have knowledge of self. So even the woman that looks like she won't creep, man, will step out, bro. We'll step out, man. The second thing is, man, let me go back to my notes, man, because my walk over here, I had to put a little stuff. I might look a little rough, but I just got done working out, man, but we're burning sunlight, so I said, let me go over here and record this video, man. The second thing is, and this is important, brothers, when there's a lack of balance. And see, going back to when I said every single woman will cheat, every single woman has the ability to cheat. It comes back to a lack of balance, man, in the relationship. Because let's say this. Let's say you get with a woman. Let's say you get with a woman and she's found self. She's found self. She knows herself. She's balanced herself within. Now y'all come together and that relationship is supposed to do a certain thing. This is when I really went in on a Code to Her Chemistry. Code to Her Chemistry is like a 10-chapter video book. Check it out if you haven't seen it, man. So when I say there's a lack of balance, this is what I want to say. This is what I talked about in Code to Her Chemistry, man. So when I say there's a code to her chemistry, like in order for that woman to be in a position to where she's fulfilled and won't step out, she has to find that balance. And the way I call it in a singular truth, or the way I say it on several different things, I call it the face of God, because ultimate balance is the face of God. Like if that woman is with you and she doesn't, and the face of God is no longer there, in other words, that relationship has no balance, even this good woman that's found self will have a tendency, if a man has a certain knowledge and knows how to speak to her when she's off balance, to cheat. So let me talk about that balance real quick, man. When I talk about that balance, or when I talk about that face of God, A man has to be both light and dark energy. And I'm gonna tell you, man, in society, there aren't too many men that have a balance between light and dark energy. Not only when it comes to women, but in life, period. But sticking to women, when I say a man has to be both light and dark energy, you have to be a man that will, and I can say this a million different ways, but you have to be a man that can love your woman, cuddle your woman, caress your woman, do all these sweet things, this light energy thing. At the same time, you have to be a brother that's full of dark energy. You know what I'm saying? Meaning you have the ability to check her if she's stepping wrong. You have the ability to dismiss her or send her packing if she does something wrong. Again, light energy, you have the ability to save her life if it's in danger. You have the ability to take life. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking just full balance. And I can say this in a million different ways. You have to be a balanced man. You know, normally when I'm talking about balance, I'm talking about, I'll say things like, man, you have to be a man that can see a homeless man with no shirt on, and you give him the shirt off your back. And at the same time, if he steps wrong, you'll take that same man's life. That's balance. So when you go into a relationship, you have to understand that balance, and I could go way much deeper, but that's in the code of chemistry. You have to understand that balance is like a key. That light and dark balance is a key that like inserts in her energetically. And once you insert into that woman on that energy, she's fulfilled, bro. She's fulfilled. Look at most of the relationships. Look at most of the relationships that you see that are off center. Look at most of the relationships that you see where you can be out and you can say, you know what? I see this sister. I know she'll go. I know she'll step out. I can just look and tell. She's off balance, or she's not getting that balance from her relationship. Either that guy is just all roses and drinking bath water and foot massages and let's go out and have a good time, and he has no dark side to him. He has no anchor in life, or he's so dark to where one compliment from some other man will spark her interest. So you have to be a man. You have to be a man that has balance. Now, going back to what I was saying, any woman can cheat and any woman can be faithful. Man, I'm gonna tell you this. You can have, and this is what I thought. This is what I thought for the longest time, man. I always thought that, like, I would say to myself, like, if I had a woman that I dated 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, and I said, man, she was thotty, she was this, she was in them streets, she can get, and I'm not talking about anybody particular, but I'm talking about even in your life, a woman that you've had in your past that just moved reckless, or a woman that you've known from your city that was just like, had thotty tendencies. That woman has the ability, man, to get with the woman, to get with the man that can check those boxes and have her aligned. If she's not too far gone. Because there is a line in the sand that you can cross where you're just too far gone, right? Right? But getting back to what I'm saying, man, you have to be a man that has that balance. And I'm gonna tell you this, because when I say a code to her chemistry, really all I'm saying is there's a system to a relationship. Like a man has to be a certain way and put certain things in place to make that relationship do a certain thing, to make that relationship be a certain way where his woman has no desire to step out. And if I'm honest with myself, man, if I look back at all my relationships, listen to what I'm saying. If I look back at all my relationships, even going back to middle school, if I look at all my relationships going back to middle school where for some reason that relationship went south and that woman started tripping and doing a certain thing, I can instantly see why. Not justifying a woman cheating or not justifying a woman doing XYZ, but when a woman moved a certain way that was quote unquote sour, or when a woman cheated, I could look at myself, again, not justifying her, I could look at myself and see what box I unchecked, or I can see where I lost balance. I can look and say, hey, you know what? When we first started talking, I was doing XYZ. But what will happen is, like in a lot of relationships, man, mainly a lot of marriages, when I say a man must maintain his frame and all that kind of stuff, like a man must never forget his position. And what I mean by that is, it's very easy to date somebody for a year or two. It's very easy to be married for 10, 15, 20 years and forget that code to her chemistry. And once you start thinking, oh, well, we're BFFs. Oh, well, we're business partners now. Oh, well, we're this now. Oh, well, we're doing all these things. You have to understand the underlying foundation has to be you being in your masculine energy and her being in her feminine energy. So once that's off balance, that code is jacked up, man. And even the best of women, man, will step out. And the thing is this is what makes this information so dangerous, right? This is what makes what I'm telling you so dangerous. Once you understand the code to her chemistry, once you understand once you understand what I'm saying, man, it makes it very easy. It's kind of like a video I made a long time ago where I said, hey, man, married women are the low-hanging fruit. Like if a man is just single and he wants to get out and have a good time and find him a sexual partner, it's the married women you go after. It's not the, I'm not saying that's what you go after. I'm just saying, it's not the women that are at the bars and they're single and they're with their girls. It's not them, it's the married women. Or when I say married women, it's the women in long-term relationships that will go the fastest, that will give it up the fastest, because those are the ones that have so many imbalances. You got to understand this. Like when you look at why marriages are at 50, 60, 70%, depending on what stats you really look at, you have to understand that it's going to always be like that. Because most relationships are off balance. And again, when I say the danger of it, once you understand what I'm saying, man, you'll be able to be out. Listen to what I'm saying. I need y'all to hear this, bro. You will be able to be out in public, boom, out in public, at the mall, at a restaurant. You will be able to look at two people walking, man and a woman, and you can tell from 30 miles away if she'll step out or not. And again, it has nothing to do with what she has on. It has nothing to do with the words coming out of her mouth. What I found over time, man, is when a woman's void isn't being filled, when that code to her chemistry isn't in place, a woman moves in a certain demeanor. A woman moves in a certain energy. Again, she can be dressed like a nun, and she'll step out. You'll see it. If you understand the code, at the same time, man, I can see a woman that's dressed in a mini skirt and strapped up sandals, and you might think she, but I can, for example, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna point that brother out, because there's a brother that I don't know if I follow him online, but I see him on YouTube sometime, and he has a wife, and if you just look at her, you think his wife is just wild. Just instantly, you think she's just wild. You think she for the streets. Man, this woman is locked into him like, and she dresses kind of sexy. She is locked, like can't nobody get in that, because that brother understands the game, and he speaks on that game sometimes. So she's fulfilled, man. So you gotta understand, when I say a code to her chemistry, as long as a woman is fulfilled, oh brother, she's solid. But you have to understand that code. And like I was saying, every single time, even looking back, when I look in the past and say, man, like everything was going good, why did this woman step out? Even going back in the day, I say, you know what? I lost balance. I lost balance. You know what I'm saying? Not justifying it, but I say she lost balance, right? And the third and final thing is to predict, because I say this is predictable. To predict that your woman will cheat, man, or to predict that she is going to step out, is simply this. Some women are just hoes. Some women are just hoes, and we can sit here and talk about light energy, dark energy, balance, good women, we can talk about all that stuff. Some women are just whores. And when I say that, I don't mean they're born whores, but what I mean is when a woman moves through life, and she doesn't have that balance, right? Like all women have the ability to be corrected and say, hey, you know what? When I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, I was kind of wilding out, you know what I'm saying? But I met this cat that aligned me. Now I'm on a straight and narrow, right? Or whatever. Some women just vibrate in that energy for so long. Hypnotic rhythm. Napoleon Hill's work, Outwitting the Devil, when he talked about hypnotic rhythm, which is nothing but prayer. And Napoleon said a person can move in any fashion or form they want to, and at some point they have the ability to change and shift and do something else. But he said this: sometimes people move in such a fashion for so long that now it's their permanent rhythm. Like it's locked into their identity. Like they can never not be that. So a lot of women move in a state of imbalance for so long, sometime that they're just that. They're just women that are off balance, and they don't even seek balance anymore. Like a lot of women that are off balance, they'll still seek a balanced man, and maybe if the stars align, they can get it right. But some women are just so far gone that it's like they're just in love with trauma and chaos and multiple. You know what I'm saying? They're just straight up hoes. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, man, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep it 100 with my brothers. There's been times in life, not a lot, not recent, but there's been times in life where I met a woman, boom, she was cute, she was fine, she was sexy, man, she had convo. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yeah, we vibing, man, we chilling, man, we can get out and step out and look good together and have whatever. Whole time, I could feel her energy. And I was like, yeah, man, this is fun and cool, but anybody can get that. I'm gonna say it again. I entertain women in life that portrayed a certain thing, that looked a certain way, that may have looked modest, but from day one, I could tell that anybody could shoot their shot. I could tell that even if I inserted the code to her chemistry, I understood that she was so off balance internally that at some point in time, if somebody just came with the right words, they would have her. So sometimes women are just hoes, man. And at the end of the day, man, when you cross a woman like that, if you're a man that's just looking to have fun and to entertain women on that level, then do that. But one thing we have to stop doing, man, is thinking we're so much of the men that we are, that we can change any woman. A lot of these women that are moving sour, I'll be honest, man, and a lot of people don't really agree with this. A lot of women, I'll say it like this. A lot of women that may have even had a slight past. I ain't saying she was just running through the streets, but a woman that might have kind of made some moves early, and like that woman has the ability to be a good wife. I'll say it. I know y'all saying nah, so I ain't saying she just been, because to be honest, think about it. Look at the culture we live in now. To be honest, a lot of the women y'all are with, to be honest, a lot of the women that y'all are married to, 2-3 years ago, 5 years ago, you didn't know who she was. Now you're 40 years old. You don't know what she did between 35 and 22. She could have been all in these streets, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say that to say any woman has the ability to get right and change. But some women, man, they're so far gone, bro, that it's so I said all that to say this, man, right? When we get in these relationships, if you so choose to, man, like there are many factors to look at when you entertain a woman. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, her morals and her beliefs, and can she align to my purpose, and a billion other questions that us as men ask on the inside, man. The main question you need to ask, bro, is she aligned with self? Is she like, in other words, I know the face of God. I know how to apply things, but if she isn't aligned with self, man, I'm really just pissing in the wind. You know what I'm saying? So understand, man, there's a code to her chemistry, and a woman's cheating is predictable, brothers.